Just waiting for the notification. All right, there goes the notification. We're live. All right. Welcome to another episode of Nick's Knowledge and Notions in Cube Science Series, brought to you by the Seven Spheres of Money and Duransburg International. I'm Nick Westbrooks, here with DJ the Money Coach. It's good to have him back. You haven't seen him in a couple weeks, but it's good. It's good to have him back. Welcome back, DJ. How's everything?
Man, everything is great, man. I was on hiatus, a little vacay. So, hey, man, it seems like I've been gone for a month or so, man. It seems like it's been so long. But I'm back, man. I'm back. Everything is good. The weather is good. And, championships have happened. And, hey, man, we're ready to rock and roll, man. Excited to be back, man. Was checking out. You did solo. Did very well. Did the project the other day with Storia. Hey, man, y'all been rocking and rolling, man. Y'all might be replacing me permanently here, man, if I don't stay on my P's and Q's.
Oh man, all of us have our lanes and our specialties, So we got hers, you got yours, I got mine, So we all play our position on this team, right?
That's right, baby. That's right. Teamwork. Yeah. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yep, absolutely. Yes, so I mean, let's go ahead and jump on in with the topic. So tonight is our book of the month discussion, and this month I read "Never Eat Alone" by Keith Ferrazzi. A DJ, he's read the book too, but he read it a few months before I did. So we'll talk about how we came across this book, and some good points that we took away from it, and what all of us can learn from it. So before I go in and start talking about those key points, this book was actually introduced to us by DJ's friend Brandon. So DJ, why don't you tell the people a little bit about Brandon and this book that he introduced to us.
Oh yeah, man, absolutely, Nick. So man, hey, first and foremost, if first time you tuning in, checking us out, and you don't know what we're about, again, I'm DJ the Money Coach. My story is a lot like everybody's out there. When I was coming out of college, I discovered that unbeknownst to me, I had a 525 credit score. I had over $40,000 worth of consumable debt. Had student loans. So in essence, man, I had like a 525, about $60,000 worth of debt hanging over my head. And in the process, I got turned down for a mortgage, and I also got turned down for a small business loan. But I read a little book called The Road to Wealth, because we're about knowledge, which is what this show is about with Nick. And in 12 months, I took my credit score to like 700, 720. And in 24 months, I took my credit score over 800. And then most importantly, I was able to get out of that debt within 3 to 5 years and become consumer debt free in 2002. And then 6 years later, I became financially independent with a 6-figure income and a 7-figure net worth. But that's not what we're excited about, ladies and gentlemen. What we're excited about, Nick and ladies and gentlemen, is that we went out and started helping people accomplish the same goals, dreams, and plans with a system that we put in place called the 7 Spheres of Money. So that's why we're here. That's what gives me the moniker of DJ the Money Coach, and over 20 years I've worked with over 20,000 people, from the YMCA to the Federal Reserve Bank to the state of Illinois to as recently as the Montgomery Regional Airport. Worked on many platforms like Urban X, and currently with the Classic Climb with our good friend Erica Williams, and with Nick come through the program. So that's about us. And I just recently got my new credit score. Oh no, can you see that?
Is that 817? It says.
There we go, baby.
817.
817. So my credit score has been in 800 for 15 straight years, and that's given me a lot of leverage to help people out and get businesses, tax advantages, and other things working. So In my network, buddy of mine named Brandon Hutchison, and he's a sharp guy. I think he's about a year older than you, Nick. I think he's 30, 31, and you're about to be 30, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah,
I actually met Brandon when he was 19. And I met him through his friend, who's a client of his, named Patrick Patterson, who now plays for the Clippers. But at that time in 2010, 2009, he was the first round draft pick for the Houston Rockets. And I actually became a business associate of Patrick Patterson's. And Brandon at the time happened to be his best friend in college. And we connected. And I helped him out with some things on the financial advisory side, developed a relationship. And Brandon is the epitome of this book, Never Eat Alone. Phenomenal networker. But the most important part about what I love about Brandon is that he is a true giver, and he doesn't give to get, which most people have an agenda when they're helping people or giving people stuff. This guy literally does it because it's just in his nature. So as I saw him develop and become a professional in my industry, I was doing extremely well financially, and he has basically did 10x of what I've done. So much so to the point that he now manages a $1.2 billion portfolio in his own private practice with Merrill Lynch, him and his brother, at the young age of 31. And because he maximized and mastered what the book Never Eat Alone talks about, he has built this huge Rolodex of power players in all industries by being a servanthood leader and actually finding how he can be a benefit to people versus ever asking them for anything. And in the process, because he's done that so effectively, Nick, that these people are beholden to him to help him become successful, including myself. So when I started seeing how he became better and better and better every year as I would get to know him better, I was like, dude, what's the secret? And he said, you know what? Hey, DJ, man, not only being raised right by my mom and dad, but I read this book called Never Eat Alone, and I live that philosophy as my life. He didn't say I practice it, I was emulating. He said he lives his life to the T. And I said, dude, I need to get that book. So when I got that book, as I started turning the pages, I was like, this is him. Exactly. They must have written this book about him. But the reality is that they didn't. But the process of how the unselfish mindset, staying in touch with people generally, being concerned about people's family, friends, how you can introduce them to folks, and literally not asking for nothing in return. That people is just like they say, if you want to, get to know somebody and you want them to shake your hand, extend your hand to them first and put it out. And it just naturally, innately, that will reciprocate it. If you want somebody to smile, drop them white, beautiful teeth on them, and it's hard for them not to smile back at you.
Right.
And that's what Brandon did and started to develop that. And I started to read the book. I should have read it a lot longer ago, but it just changed my mindset because honestly, I was a person that I would give on the purpose of returning, but I would give great value, but I would expect great value back. But it's completely opposite. It's really just give and be a person that wants everybody in the world to do better. And then people will naturally find people that they'll connect you up to make you win. And that's what Brandon did. And when we talked, I said, hey, Nick, you got to get this book, man, because it's probably one of the best 5 books I've ever read. And I'm changed my whole paradigm of how I go about doing things. And when I read the book and really got it, I said, hey, some things we need to change about our platform in terms of becoming more of a giver. And then it also put me at a place where don't get upset when you've helped a lot of people and they don't return the favor, don't thank you. Just, hey, man, that bridge is going to be built in another lane for you or somebody in your family because you did the right thing. And don't get upset with the book, because I would sometimes, honestly, I can't lie. I would get upset because you've been over backwards helping people and you're not really trying to get nothing from them, but then they'll start elevating and then it's almost like they did it themselves. And a lot of times you're just thinking, hey, man, a thank you is great. That's all. Just give me some acknowledgement that I was there to open up a door, give you some insights. And that book just showed me that, hey, man, if you do that, you become resentful. And that resentment, you can see how it start building up to you and it become an angst. And it's like, I don't want to help anybody. And this book diffuses that and tell you the reason why you shouldn't go about your life that way, and that people generally are good natured in of themselves. And those people like that are takers. They don't succeed, or if they do succeed financially, they usually end up being lonely. And that's the preface of the book, never eat alone. So that's my story on Brandon Hutchinson. Look him up. Phenomenal guy, high net worth, person in terms of dealing with people, and just a giver, true giver.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a giver with a plan. And there's nothing wrong with somebody being a giver with a plan.
Right.
Same thing with you. You epitomize that book as well.
And I appreciate that. And when you introduced me to Brandon, Brandon was actually in the process of giving once again, for us, consulting us on the deal we were working on, and you didn't pay him for it. He just did it out of the goodness of his heart and because of the relationship and the bond that you and him built over the years. So yes. So just like you, this is a book that I felt that I should have read long ago. It is something that I needed because I always understood the importance of connections and building meaningful connections, but I never had tangible strategies about how to go about it and how to maintain relationships. And that's one of the main things that really stood out to me about this book. I can remember being in college, being in Washington, D.C. at Howard and meeting all of these amazing professionals and peers of mine. And I would get their contact information, and I would be for example, I would be at a career fair. Every year we would have a media career fair in which we have all of these companies come to campus. So, news companies, marketing companies, public relations companies, they would come to recruit, students for either internships or jobs, so I would meet these professionals. They would give me their cards and say, hey, reach out to me if you have any questions. And then, I would send the follow-up email, thanking them for the conversation. And then I would be stuck after that. Like,
that'd be it.
Yeah, I'd be stuck after that. Like, well, I can't think of any questions to ask. I don't know. I know I should connect with this person, but I don't know what to say. And I don't want to, waste this person's time by, sending them in, a message that's lacking substance and purpose, because I feel that these people are busy.
Right.
So this book definitely gave me some tips and some strategies about how to go about that.
It's connections with a purpose. And the other thing that the book, illustrates and makes as the most important point is that those winners that you met, they are looking for somebody like you to follow up with them, because they give out a multitude of cards, email addresses, and maybe 5% of people follow up and follow through just to build a relationship with them. Mm-hmm. And then as you talk about in the book, where it becomes a point where you can say, hey, Brandon, why don't you call Nick? And I think you and him could be doing something together. And that's it, because you study Nick, you study Brandon, and you know what their, assets are, you know what their gaps are, and you know how to fill them. And you just put those people together, and that equity that they both have garnered from you easily connects them, where the trust is like they've been knowing each other forever.
Right.
And that's the thing that should be taught in every school system, because like you said, I send this person an email and then after that, I don't know where to go from there because there's nothing to build on it that you know of because you don't have a genuine connecting with and you feel like you're bothering them. But if they had a friend that they spent time with and said, hey, you know what? I've got this guy, Nick Westbrooks. He's sharp on the upcoming. He's going to be a player eventually in the broadcast communication lane and you're already there. You guys might have some things in common and you might have some things that you might just want to kick it as just, human beings. And all of a sudden, hey, why don't you guys just get together and go kick it?
Exactly. Yeah.
And we're taught networking from a different perspective, almost like we're out spear chucking people, and I only want to get with you just so you can make something happen for me, but it's not really like that. It's really about building genuine relationships, getting to know people, acknowledging their hard work, their success, giving them praise and giving them their flowers right here. And then matter of factly, you know what? I've got this partner over here that you guys just need to meet. And I think you guys would do great together. And
right.
That edification, endorsement, and it's informal, but it's still formal because when an opportunity arises, as he talks about in the book, where you can call up one CEO and say, hey, Bob, my nephew, needs to, do so-and-so, and could you sit down and have lunch with him?
Right.
And even if you do it from a code standpoint, you can start developing that relationship with a person, have general interest, and say, hey, you know what? I noticed you just got the Pulitzer Reward, or you just got the National Honor Society. What did you do to go about doing that? Because most people after that really ain't going to be interested. And then that person start opening up and want to share their accomplishments with you. And then as you're doing that, boom, all of a sudden you meet another person. Hey, here's another person that I think would be somebody great for you to know. And that's kind of what, Brandon did. Well, it ain't kind of what he did with us with Rick Polson.
Right.
And then also too, that person explains who's the connector and the catalyst of those two relationships to tell you how and what to expect from this person because they're busy where you don't take it personally. If you don't hear from that person for 5 months, it ain't because they're really, trying to avoid you. That person is super high performer and it's hard to get on their calendar. But when you get on their calendar, things happen because you have a real intrinsic, quality about each other that is beneficial outside of you just trying to make money. So right. That's where that never long. And it's so funny that we're talking about this in the book of the month. I was just talking to Rodney today, and he was getting an opportunity to do some work study program at UT, and it was only for like $9-10 an hour. And I'm like, Rodney, if you're just doing it just to make money, and it's not part of your master plan that's going to get the extra door open, why not utilize your dad's connections? Because these people are going to expect you to talk to them, and they're not going to be, adverse to you getting in touch with them and building some relationship because they have a relationship with me. And you should start talking to them and start contacting them once a month, then maybe once a week, and asking them about what's going on in their lives, hearing about their success stories, they'll start, and then say, hey, here's where I am in progression. Because again, they're looking for somebody to mentor, to apprenticeship, but they're not going to be promoting it and marketing it out on billboards and stuff. That's not how it works.
Right.
And Never Eat Alone gives you, like you said, a step-by-step process of how to go about it. And even I've got his live speech where he's doing like a TED talk. It's amazing. And up and you listen to that and you be like, oh man, yeah, I never thought about that. And then when you start saying how he connect the dots in his network and start knowing all these powerful players, and they become whole, where he talked about the parties that he would throw.
Yeah.
And he was talking about the person that he was recommending that was what an introverted person to do. Is like, oh man, I could never throw a party like that. And he said, well, guess what? I'll bring a couple of my friends to your party. You'll bring a couple friends, and since you don't think you know them, then next thing you know, he said, here's this guy that was very sharp, very cerebral, and can benefit people from a technical standpoint. Couldn't think he can get two people in a room, yet alone in his house. And the guy was even embarrassed. He would think about the little crib he had. Remember?
Yeah.
But my house is not big like yours. Like, don't worry about it. The secret is, you get 6, 7, 8 people in a room with different interests. That's another thing he talks about. Don't get the same guy and the same girl on the same team, because that's not interesting. Even though you're a rocket scientist, I don't need to have a room a whole bunch of rocket scientists, because they're going to be boring as hell.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
What you gonna talk about?
Right. You know, give me a rocket scientist, give me a paleontologist, give me a cosmologist. You know, get them where they all got interest, where it keeps the party flowing naturally. And I never knew that. And then when you start looking at it, and he brought that guy together, he said, now look up. That guy ended up becoming client of his, and then that guy ended up getting big business, and he ended up getting big business because that guy was excited that he made him more socially acceptable. Socially acceptable to a guy who was a genius, but he did not know how to relate to people. And our man bridged that gap for him, and in return asked nothing for it. And then even, I think one time, I think he let him use his house or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. It was one time he let him use his house. But I mean, man, this book is amazing, dude.
It is.
I mean, this book is kind of like when we were talking about Reginald F. Lewis. We could talk about this book forever, dude. I mean, It's got so many great nuggets in it that when you start identifying people who are high performers, and it seems like they know everybody, you start identifying that them guys are running the playbook of Never Eat Alone.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that speaks to the equation mentioned at the beginning of the book. The equation of the people you meet plus what you create together equals success, pretty much. And yeah, it's also important to get to know and connect with people on a personal level too. And that was really important. I think you mentioned, the blending of the formal and the informal, because I think too often when we think of networking, which networking is actually a dirty word in this book, it's more about, connecting and building friendships. But when we think about networking, we think about connecting with others, not just to expect something in return, but only thinking about the business or the professional, aspect of the connection or the relationship, rather than taking an interest in that person and what they're passionate about and what they have going on in their lives. Because think about it. Think about how excited people get when you ask them about their kids or their families, or you share some information that might benefit them. So of course they'll be passionate about their career or their profession, but that that excitement and that joy when you touch on something that they're passionate about outside of the professional world, that's a whole nother level of joy and excitement, and it shows that you care about that person and that you're not just looking to get something out of them.
Right. You have, like you said, you have a general interest in them as a human being. And then you create lifetime friendships. So these people are your friends. They're not just doorways to help you become financially successful. And I think that's one of the most important things that he teaches you in the book. And then these people are doing events. I'm not talking about business events, but they're doing social hanging out events where everybody looks forward to coming to this party. And then out of that, the serendipity is, by the way, these are all high dynamic people.
Right.
So that's the calculated part of it. And there's nothing wrong about it, because you went about it the right way with general interest that you want to be around dynamic people. Then you got to reach out to dynamic people that have some interest and curiosity that you want to know more about. And in the process, what does that make you? That makes you a very interesting person, a Renaissance man or a Renaissance woman. And now people are gravitating towards you, and you're the magnet. At the end of it, I mean, man, he's got so many great step-by-steps in the book that you can't go wrong in any field endeavor. If you're in the non-for-profit world, if you are in the foundational world, yet alone just the capitalistic business world, this is a great book for you to emulate and start building long-term value-added friendships. And if you look, in your life and you have some successful relationships, you're going to see that you've been using and emulating some of these principles of success without even realizing.
Absolutely. I've definitely noticed that myself for sure. I kind of see myself as a visionary, when it comes to, thinking about, the people who are in my circle, and I'm always making connections mentally about, this person should meet this person. And I love when I'm able to do it and actually able to bring those individuals together. And I always look forward to what they can create together. Like, even if I'm part of it, just being able to make those connections is so fulfilling.
Yeah, exactly. I mean that's the thing, is that in the book he actually gives categorizations of different types of individuals and how they role plays in being a never eat alone type person. So I think that's one of the most important things too. So when you're looking at that and you're looking at just every different chapter, that's in the book, it's almost like a encyclopedia. You know what I'm saying? So, like chapter 3 is, what's your mission?
Right.
And he's talking about your life mission.
Yeah,
and we're talking about from where you come from and how you get involved with people, and where sometimes it'll be like overnight. Oh man, how did you become that? Becoming a member of a club. Don't keep score, which is what networkers do.
Yeah,
man, I gotta get this, gotta get that, and I gave this guy, this girl, all this stuff.
Yes, now they owe me.
right, and that I used to be guilty of that all the time, because you're out there busting your butt, and this person is accelerating through your sphere of influence and not giving nothing back at the table. But guess what? If you keep your score, you're never gonna win. And the other thing he talks about is the build it before you need it, by having those substantial relationships that when you got to go to your emergency pull me through person, they're already there, because you done put so much equity and built so much trust and welfare in that person that they waiting for an opportunity to help you out.
Right.
In the crunch. Which most people, don't get the benefit of it. And then what he talks about, the other thing I like about is how you just eliminate the gatekeeper.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
By having that solid relationship, you get around and there's no gatekeeper, and then you actually make that gatekeeper your friend. yeah.
Actually, that's a prerequisite there.
Right. Hey, this person likes, this, that, and other, and this is how you get in touch with him or her. And I'll introduce you to him. I mean, he's got a great format, man. I mean, you got to show him the book, because I have the audio.
Oh, yeah, I got it. Yep.
You got to show them this book, and you got to get this book.
Yeah. This is what it looks like.
Man, that book, it says, and the other secrets to successful relationships.
Yeah.
At a time.
At a time. Yep.
That man, that is a powerful book, and that's a book that I like. That, again, like an encyclopedia, you can just go to one specific chapter of where you are in your life and make things better, polish that part of your life, and then go to another one where you don't have to go through the whole book at one time.
In the end. Right. Yep. Exactly.
Right. It's not that kind of book. It's a book that, where are you right now that you need help with? Let's go in and surgically repair that. And then you'll, matriculate into that other, role that you need to have, and become, the master connector to everybody.
Right.
At the end of the day, because that's what that guy had become. And then, like you said, next thing you're working on people's campaigns and all other kind of stuff. You're becoming a fundraiser leader, and you weren't even interested in that, but you have such a great way of building relationships with people, from adding value to them personally and truly getting to know them, that some people start reaching out to you, and opportunities are never, not available to you.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
And that's the most important piece, man.
Yeah. And that's something, and that should be a leg or an aspect of our financial education, because when you think about I think about the beginning of the story of his background, growing up, as a as a farm boy, and how he used those relationships. He pretty much expressed that of course we already know that poverty is a mind state more than anything, but he shows us that poverty goes beyond a lack of monetary resources. It's also the lack of those relationships or those individuals that will help you to get you to where you need to be, pretty much. So that's a lesson. It's a lesson in financial education, as well as a lesson in just general living.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, because you got to have a mindset of abundance is really what he's talking about, and you got to have that mindset, and especially in certain communities, where we're closed-minded, that hey, I'm not going to help this person, not going to do that. But the reality is, a lot of stuff that you have accomplished, somebody played a role in it.
Yep.
Somebody gave you hey, you know what? That's a good guy. That guy's got a hard work ethic. You may not know that, but that person is endorsed you and gave you the seal of approval, or that young lady has done that. Or as you go through, and you even just look at professional sports. So if you look at these guys who become retreads as coaches and managers, you will see that who they're getting hired by are people that they had relationships, like he talked about. He said, hey, the greatest reward is that when you have that intern that wanted to get on your list, but now they're taking your call 5 10 later when they're at the top of the food chain.
Right.
Now you're grateful. And there's a saying that be careful of those people that you walking over on your way up the ladder, because they'll be the same people you see on your way down the ladder.
Yes.
And so when you look at this particular medium, in terms of social media, a lot of these cats that are doing the best, they have developed that never eat alone mindset.
Right. Yeah.
And they have a mindset of abundance and not selfishness, and working with people.
Right. Yeah. That's interesting. That's interesting that you mentioned that, because too often we I guess we as a collective, especially in our community, we play into this misconception and misperception of distrust, and betrayal, and I can only depend on me. I gotta do it. I gotta do it alone. And of course, that comes partially from our indoctrination of
absolutely some of the indoctrination, but at some point in time you got to just let it go and say, hey, I can't be defined by that.
Of living in America, but he's showing us here that this is almost like a best kept secret, because I feel like we're constantly bombarded by this rugged individualism, and that it's a cutthroat dog eat dog world, and everybody's competing against each other, when actually the ones who are at the top, they're working alongside one another.
I mean, so in regard to that, he has a chapter at the very end called Connecting with the Connectors.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things that our good friend Erica Williams talks about, is she's always looking for other people to partner with, who have unique skills outside of what she has that add value. And she's always looking to add value to them. So you're never going to be without. And at the same time, you have to have the ability to understand that this is not going to happen overnight also. Right. So that's one of the things that I had to learn too, is that I'm sometimes, in the past, where I'll be so anxious to get ahead, I'll do a ton of work and expect it to happen right away. But you got to understand, these relationships take time. Again, it takes building that equity with that person, establishing that you really genuinely care with that person, and not looking for anything in return. And before you know it, maybe 12, 24, 36 months, that person is a significant person that you didn't realize to help you on a dream that may not even been part of your original outlook in life 36 months before.
Mm-hmm.
Because that person has seen you side by side, work with you, develop a personal relationship. That person endorsed it. And guess what that is on one of the biggest professional networks? Well, the biggest one, that's LinkedIn.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So you get people to give you honest, deep, caring recommendations for people on LinkedIn. And what do people do now in this professional world if you're a professional? They go check out what? Your LinkedIn bio.
LinkedIn, yeah.
And they're not even really looking at your bio. They're looking at who do you know that's credible, that's saying, hey, this is a great guy. This is a great girl. They overproduced on the project. They stood in the gap in hard times. You know, this person, I'm going to bat for. Even if it's a total different field of endeavor, their character, their leadership, their compassion, their empathy, you can take it to the bank. And when you see these people profiles that have 5,000 plus people, those are connectors of connectors.
Right.
So
right.
if you want to get ahead, even if you're an old head or if you're a young person, if you take step by step each one of these incredible chapters and Never Eat Alone and focus and master that chapter one by one, I could tell you probably in 12 to 24 months, you probably would double your influencers that will be influenced for you, endorse you, and you wouldn't even have to spend a dime. So if you look at that sliver, I mean, just think about it. So Ashley put us in contact with Erica. We didn't invest not one penny, but we did invest heavily into Ashley. We did invest heavily into Nick. And then when we finally got the chance to meet with Erica, guess what? The serendipity was Erica knew Leonard Ray.
Right.
Leonard Ray endorses her, then re-solidified while we were working with her.
Yep.
Who would have thought that in this big old internet world with billions of people on these platforms? And that's no different like with, you know, Roberto Blake introducing him to Malcolm. And even if those people think that we didn't add value, we did. And like you said, especially in our community, we don't understand the value of that. And I'll go one even further. So even with the situation with the election, if I know, I'm pretty sure you watched the town hall yesterday, because if you didn't, and you sitting up here complaining about going on in America, but you ain't listening to what these people are really about,
right?
Then shame on you. And you don't even have the right to even open your mouth.
Talk about it.
you know what I'm saying? So if you think about what's going on in our community, and if you want to get in touch with influencers who may not be experts, 9 out of 10 times the people in our community who are getting approached by these people trying to get your vote, or they want to use as pawns, they're not experts. They just have a following because they're influencer. And what I mean by that? So there's a guy called Tone Talks that was able to reach out and get in touch with Ice Cube. Now, Ice Cube is cool, but guess what? He's not no expert in any shape, size, form in politics. I would say 0. But unfortunately, in our community, he's a major influencer to those who are uninformed. So he goes out and writes this contract to Black America because that gives him relevancy. You see what I'm saying? But Tone Talk, who is an expert in politics and policy, said, you know what? I don't like some of the stuff that he said in the policy. And matter of fact, I don't like the fact that the president and the wannabe president is reaching out to this guy. And the only reason why they're reaching out to him so they can get an easy layup influence of votes. But because Tone had developed a master connector relationship with some people in his network, he was able to bring him on his platform. and most importantly, show him how to make some corrections to his policy so he don't get used as a pawn to lead our people to the slaughterhouse for their vote, which is not going to bring them anything but a feel good, and then they're going to be used again. So when you're looking at that impact, and he was able to get in touch with this dude in literally like a couple of weeks, that most cases you're never going to get in touch with somebody, and they were able to get a legislation into law on the last day of what is it called? Is it when we go to the Congress when they're in session?
Right. Yeah.
So in the state of California, they were able to get the first legal bill to address reparations. And because Tone Talk used the outline of Never Eat Alone, he was able to connect with Ice Cube's group that had influence on the guy who signed into law, the governor of state of California, on the very last day at the last minute, Nick. They had a general session, and people of influence, they allowed them to call in, and Ice Cube was one of them. And right before that, literally about 2-3 days, Tone Talk was able to get in touch with his people, have a conversation with him, and make him make some corrections to get this bill into law. For the power of the work that he had been doing for 4 or 5 years ago. A critical point in our lifetime that we won't realize right now until that bill takes true effect. And they were talking about this just the other day on his platform, and he was a big, criticizer of what, Ice Cube was doing, because Ice Cube, he didn't know what he was talking about, but because he was trying to be relevant, he was putting this doctrine out there because the sheep would come follow him, because here's Biden's group contacting him, a rapper. Here's Trump's people come contacting him, a rapper, because they know in our community, we're influenced by bling and entertainment versus value and policy with people who are real leaders. And this is the only community I don't see, and I'm getting off on the rails here a little bit, about, right. Never Eat Alone. Yeah, I've never seen in the Caucasian community, they asking Brad Pitt, Matt Damon about policy. I never seen in the Hispanic community, they asking George Lopez about policy and getting people to vote in the community. And you surely don't see it, in the Asian community. But why is it always ours? When it's time to get that free layup vote, we come out there shucking and jiving, eating food, we electric sliding or whatever you call it, whatever the new name for the, bus stop they call it now, whatever it is. And we come right out, falling right to the slaughter. But because of the Never Eat Alone principles of success and building quality relationships with people of value, Tone was able to bridge that gap at the last minute, get in touch with Ice Cube and get him on his platform and show him the errors of his ways and open his eyes and say, if you're really going to be about this, go about it as an expert. And that made connectors with connectors, which I think is chapter 21 in Never Eat Alone.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Yes, it is. And the difference between that example and the examples that Keith discusses here is that he's actually the connectors are the journalists, the lawyers, the ones who are the experts, in their respective fields. But at the same time, they have their influencers who have platforms and are able to reach, a multitude of people.
Exactly. And that's exactly what it is, because Tone is an attorney.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Ice Cube is an entertainer. But Tone is an expert, so he's coming in contact with people because they're executing legislation, laws, everything that people come to him, but he's not really the mouthpiece. Right. So he was able to connect to the mouthpiece and actually help guide him in the right direction for our benefit of the uninformed.
Yep.
But again, would he have known this 5 years ago? 6 years ago when they first started talking about ADOS, what's the likelihood that an Ice Cube would be on this platform? Slim to none, unless, again, we can get him to influence those people who are going out here to vote and make them vote for the wrong thing. And again, I'm an independent. I don't have any dog in the fight. I don't have any support for the guy in office, and I definitely don't have any support for the guy trying to get in office. But I am going to vote and make my vote count when I've done all the research. And see, a lot of people don't even know there's a libertarian candidate out there.
There is. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. So,
man, and again, these people are going to have impact in your life. And I'll give you another example, just like, my buddy Eric Dargan.
Yeah.
Been knowing Eric, I think now 10, 11 years. Who would have thought that from meeting him at a college event, as we were both, significant people invited to this event, black tie, we just happened to be sitting at the same table. Interject, had a conversation, intrigued about what he was doing, what his family was about. Never thought anything about it, but we fast forward 11 years or 10 years later, and man, we're some of the best friends. He goes from being, just a director or a manager at the city of Houston to now he is the chief operating officer of the whole city of Houston. And has opened up many doors for my organization and my business opportunities because I've done stuff for him that had nothing to do with making money.
There you go.
And immediately he'll endorse me. I'll endorse him because we're buddies. We vacation together. Our children hang out together. So it's a win-win-win. You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't have known that 10, 11 years ago. I went to the event because I was called on. I was somebody of influence or whatever. And here I am sitting next to this real super sharp, highly integrity guy. And I wasn't looking for somebody to be, one of my best friends. I already had one.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And he's like E.F. Hutton. There's nobody that Eric doesn't know that if he says, hey, you should get together with this guy, they don't even question it, dude. Because they know his level of integrity and him being a high performer. He's not going to waste his time to say, hey, go get together with Nick. I ain't even got to tell you what Nick is about, but you better be rest assured if Eric tells you go get together with him, you and him going to have something deeply in common that y'all can help each other out with.
Yep. That's yep. And that's the credibility piece that he talks about in the book.
Right. Instant credibility. And that's just like with Dr. George Frazier. I mentioned his name. People know who he is. They ain't never met me. I got instant credibility.
Yep.
That's, never eat alone. That's,
it is.
Just like you did with SYEP in Newark. You had to connected them to us. And I'm like, man, I ain't never heard you. Hey, this is something that we should do. Boom. Turned out to be amazing.
That's right.
And for a great cause, young, urban, children who are starting the beginning of their careers, in high school, going through a program that shows them responsibility, accountability, work ethic. And now you can talk to professionals who already done it, and you can give back and you can get good exposure. And that led to us getting other opportunities because we're able to show that speaking engagement to other opportunities that people didn't think, because they didn't know anything about us. But right. You knew me, you knew them, and I didn't have time to talk to them. But what did they do? They trusted you. And then right. I said, guess what? I'm not going to let you down. And we knocked it out the park.
That's right.
That's never eat alone right there.
Yes, it is.
and the thing I like about it is that when you generally share information with somebody you care about somebody that they should know to care about, you don't even have to worry about them misrepresenting you or harming your reputation. But when you're just doing regular networking, dude, that's suspect all the time.
Right.
That person, and there's nothing wrong with, they have an ulterior motive to connecting with you. They're not trying to be your friend in any capacity. They're trying to use you as a doorway like anybody else in a capitalistic society.
Of course.
And Never Eat Alone teaches you the direct opposite of that. I think they have another chapter in the book. I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's called what is it called? The networking jerk, or sharing your passions, or follow up and follow through. It's so important, because that networking jerk is that person that's just there to take.
Right.
And you don't want to be that guy. And everybody at some point in time, unless they just a down to earth person and they are ambitious, they've been that person indirectly or directly because they didn't know no better.
Right.
And then you have a reputation that precedes you that you don't even know about, that people don't tell you, that you're the sunshine that's taking the sunshine out of the room versus bringing the sunshine into the room. So yeah, man, this book here, man, so many nuggets in it. It is a Bible.
It is.
That's what I would say about it. So you cannot go wrong by putting this book in your library. Matter of fact, if you're serious about being successful in any aspect of life, outside of BK1 or whatever spiritual book that you read, it will behoove you not to have this book on your shelf. And it would behoove you not to implement the characteristics and the principles in it with your family and your friends, or become an example of it. That's how powerful this book is. And I'm getting paid $0 for this endorsement. That's how great of a book it is.
Right. Yep. Yep. That speaks volumes, and I think that's a great place to put a period on this conversation. Great way to end it off. Definitely go get this book. No matter what your personal vision in life is, or your personal mission in life is, this is a concept that transcends, all fields, missions, goals, careers, personal, professional. So yeah, go get it.
Hey man,
and apply the blueprint.
It's the blueprint to successful living and personal relationships. That's what I said. And again, if they had a picture, your picture and Brandon's picture will be on that book. The people who are the epitome and personification of what that book is about, man. At the end of the day, that's a book you could be excited about all the time. You might want to show them that book again. I know we're getting out of here, but that's
let me pull
man.
Mike out of the way so you can get a better view of it.
Yep.
Camera. Yeah.
When was that book published the first time by Keith Ferrazzi? That book's been out for a while, right?
Yeah, it has been. This is actually the updated version that I have here. So the first original was 2005, and
wow.
I have and this is the 2014 version that I have here.
Wow.
Yeah, 2005.
2005, man. Yeah, that's when you got a winning book, dude.
Yeah.
And it's dude. Man. I'm excited because we're definitely incorporating the Never Eat Alone blueprint in our personal lives, in our business lives, and we're seeing the fruit on the tree every day, man. Every day.
Yeah, and you with you moving your brick and mortar business to online, the updated version gives you those tidbits about how to make those connections, when you're not in person, so you might say, oh, it's 2005. The concepts still apply. He just gives you the strategies of how to transfer those skills and those strategies to the online world.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Immutable principles of success, dude, are timeless.
Yeah.
There's a saying, I'll leave with this. Don't follow the personality. Follow the character of principles that a person, emulates in their life. And we get conflicted in life where we're following mostly personalities. We don't follow principleship. Because that personality is flawed and it's going to diminish over time. But the principles are timeless.
Timeless. Yep.
And one of my leaders used to say, make sure everything that you follow is meaningful, measurable, and manageable based on your interpretation of the word of whatever you're reading or, imbibing in your life. And we fail. We come up short on that all the time. We're always looking for that person that's loud, flamboyant, but we look past their flaws in their character. Or we're looking for that person that they're perfect, that we don't give them room to make honest mistakes. That's the thing. So yeah, man, dude, yeah, we probably have to have a part 2 to this Never Eat Alone, because man, I'm gonna go out and read another chapter of it this weekend, man, because I'm stoked. So yeah, man, hey man,
yep.
Hey, we like you said, we put a period on it and we end the way we end, man. It's good to be, man. Couldn't put a perfect book or topic come back on the show.
Yeah. And I already got the next one picked out, so it's on the way. It's in the mail. So I'm going through the 7 Spheres of Money reading list. So I already read From Good to Great earlier in the year, but I got the E-Myth on the way. So that's going to be the next one. Yeah, so the E-Myth is by Michael Gerber. That's going to be the next one. It's on the way.
And that's in about its 12th edition.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of, they had specialized editions too. I saw, for different fields.
Man, dude, that is an amazing book. And Michael Gerber in person, great guy. I had the pleasure and benefit of meeting him one-on-one at a conference called the E-Women Network. I think this was in 2008, and he was a speaker and he was a moderator of a breakout small business session that me and my business group had been chosen as one of the best in the category. Actually, we were nominated as the best in our category for small business at the time, and had talked to him and told him how we were students of his book. And that's another thing, man, the serendipitous, Nick, is that it amazes me that how high quality people can eventually meet these people who write these books, because they're just like us. But then again, it don't amaze me because you attract to you what you are. The law of attraction based on John C. Maxwell, 21 irrefutable laws of leadership.
There you go.
Got to put that on. I think that's on our book list. Man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It definitely is. Yep. Oh yeah. It's on there.
Oh yeah, brother. Yeah, that's fired up. Yeah, man. So yeah, back to you, man. You close it out. We do what we do, man. But yeah, it's good to be back, man.
Yep, that's the one for November. That's the one for November. So so look out for that. Of course, look out for all of our programs. A Story on Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We have a webinar coming up towards the end of this month.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about that. Let the people know.
Yep. Yeah. So we have our October webinar coming up on the
October 28th.
28th, yeah.
October 28th. Yeah, that webinar is going to be a knock out of the park webinar. It's going to be called 3 Steps to Success. And I didn't mean to cut you off, but this webinar is going to incorporate how to start businesses, invest in businesses, start in the real estate game, invest in real estate, leverage the tax laws across the line by using the 7 Spheres of Money platform. And this is going to be a compilation of 20 years of us working in those 3 industries successfully, the downs, because we're going to keep it real. Then we're going to tell you about the ups. And then we're going to tell you how to keep it steadily growing. And most importantly, we're going to give you access to do deals right now. 3 Steps to Success webinar, October 28th. And we'll be sending this out to everybody on our email list. So if you're not on our email list, get on our email list, subscribe, and get ready for the 28th, man, because it's going to be a slam, bam, knock it out the park to end your 2020 on a phenomenal, note. And yeah, Nick just put up there, go to djthemoneycoach.com, call us, and email, Nick as well to get more information, because we're knocking this out the park. And it just goes to show is that just that correspondence that that we were just, given from our friend Erica earlier today about how things happen in deals. I don't know if you read that email that she sent us.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And just letting you know, that's just how things happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I couldn't be more excited about that webinar, and couldn't more be excited about, if you haven't gotten your complimentary consultation and you have bought the 7 Spheres of Money Erica Williams special with us, or the Urban Excellence program, the DVD course. If you haven't got this course, Family Finance 101, and got our special, if you did, our spots, man, I mean, we've been doing, my goodness, 12, 15, 16 consultations and meetings, Nick, a week. I mean, because you schedule.
Yeah. Yep.
Sometimes, dude, I be working so hard. I be getting backed up on meetings because there's so many people want to be helped, and there's so many things that we can teach people. So if you haven't taken advantage of that, get onto the calendar, plug in. We're going to open up some other spaces at the end of the month as we're freeing up our time to end out, the year, and take advantage of it, because our network is a phenomenal network of professionals that have collectively over 125 years of industry expertise in the 7 spheres of money. And at the end of the day, you want to get consumer debt free. You want to pay yourself first and start creating a passive income through business real estate. And that's what we help people do, and that's what we're excited about. So a lot of great things coming down the pipeline, man. And Nick, you're doing a phenomenal job and everything, man. The shows that you and the story are putting together, your show, and it's amazing that you're able to wear multiple hats and multi-task effectively and efficiently, man. So we appreciate you, dude, for continuing to do what you do. And this show is getting better every week that you put it on. So I'm proud of you, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yep. So with that being said, make sure you connect with us on our website, on all of our social media, 7 Spheres of Money. And until the next broadcast, the next show, we wish you a pom lifestyle. That's plenty of money, peace of mind, and come join us on the Beaches of the World Club. So thank you for joining us. Take care. Have a good night. Peace.